Amy, let me tell you about a magical place that is so exactly designed to be enclosed space, year-round fun for the whole family that I bet you already know what I'm going to say before I even say the name. Let's say it together on three. 1, 2, 3. Great Wolf Lodge. You got it, Amy.
My kids loved Great Wolf Lodge when we went. You probably already know that it has a huge indoor water park with a wave pool, lazy river, a bunch of massive water slides. But then your pack can hit the other attractions because wait, there's more.
Great Wolf Lodge has adventure-packed attractions like Magi Quest, a live-action game kids can play throughout the lodge, plus the Northern Lights Arcade. Spent some quality time there, so your kid who loves the lazy river and your kid who loves fantasy games will both have a great time.
Great Wolf Lodge also offers great dining options and complimentary daily events like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. Unpack the car once and you're settled in to have fun. And with 22 lodges across the country, you're always a short drive away from adventure.
We've both had such great times at Great Wolf Lodge, so bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Learn more at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack. Welcome to Ask Margaret from What Fresh Hell, laughing in the face of motherhood, solving your parenting dilemmas one question at a time. Today's question comes from Mary, who says, how do you handle taking your toddler to a funeral? I'm mostly concerned about the actual complications of taking him to the viewing and funeral. Would like him to say goodbye, but still worried about it. Would exposing him to things like an open casket upset him or make him more resilient? Mary, I really like this question, and it's come up a lot. And I have a strong feeling about this, and I think that children should attend funerals. You can read a lot of history about this. Back in the day, people died. You brought them into your house. You laid them out on the dining room table, washed them, and helped bury them. And that was a family activity. And I think, we're not going back to those days. Nobody's dead is coming onto your dining room table, probably. But I think the idea that we can pretend that death does not exist for children is misguided. I think it is one of the things that we project onto kids, that the idea of this is much more scary than the reality of it. My mom passed away 2 years ago, and for me, it was never a question about whether my kids would attend the funeral. My kids have attended a lot of funerals. It's something that we talk a lot about. We talk about what it's going to be like. I try to help them really set their expectations, but I want to have the experience of that ritual, and I want my children to have the experience of that ritual. We've dealt with some really sad deaths in our lives, and I think my kids have been very frightened to go to the funerals. They've been very frightened to really talk about it and confront it, but that they have found, as I have found, and hopefully you have found in your life, that the purpose of the ritual of a funeral is really useful. It gives you a time to do some really serious mourning. It gives you a time to really confront the reality of what has happened. And I think that that is important and should be done. If you're worried about an open casket, you can skip that part of it. If that feels comfortable to you and something that you think after talking to your kids they are ready to confront, I would encourage you to take them. I think preparing them for that, what it's going to be like. I remember going to my first open casket funeral and being really terrified of it, and then going and being like, oh, that wasn't as scary as I thought. But you can also give them a choice, but make sure you're giving them a fair choice so that the choice doesn't become like, you can either go to the funeral with me or you can stay behind in this hotel room by yourself. So you want to make sure that they feel kind of empowered to make this choice, but I would encourage them to make it. And I would explain to them that what the roles funerals play in our lives. I was really surprised by this when I found this. The Guardian has a statistic that says 48% of people think it is inappropriate for children under 10 to attend a funeral. I found that shocking. I find it very, very appropriate for children to attend a funeral. It is important to remember that a funeral is primarily about the people who are very close to the loved one who has passed away. Therefore, if you have a child who is not capable of behaving through a lengthy funeral service, keep that in mind. For my mom's funeral, my children came to the funeral service, and then I had a friend take them over to their house at the end of the funeral service, and I attended the rest of the events by myself because I wanted to be able to have my own mourning process that wasn't about are my kids knocking over the flower display at the reception? And so do not put people in the position of having their funeral, their loved one's funeral, be about your child who is running around the aisles or crying. If you can, figure out how much your child is really up for and then make other arrangements. It's great for them to be part of the service maybe and then go home. Maybe they come to the wake briefly and then go home. But don't put your kid in a situation, don't set them up to fail by bringing them to a 4-hour service where it's going to just become about the fact that they don't have the attention span to sit through that. But generally, I am very firmly team children should go to funerals. And Mary, I hope that helps. If you have a question for myself or Amy, you can send it to questions@whatfreshhellpodcast.com and you may hear your question answered on an upcoming episode. Thanks for listening.
Close your eyes. Focus. Listen to work getting done with Monday.com. Relax as AI does the manual work, while your teams are aligned on a single source of truth. Feel the sensation of an AI work platform, so flexible and intuitive, it feels like it was built just for you. Notice you're limitless. Now open your eyes, go to Monday.com, start for free, and finally, breathe.